Welcome back to another episode of Scoundrels, Inc., another Star Wars podcast. Today we're talking about Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 4, Faster. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Mandalorian trailer that just dropped. And we'll take some of the questions submitted in our Discord. But, Kevin.
Oh, important news, you guys. I just found out. Yard House no longer allows you to say all flats.
What?
Oh, yeah. Corporate policy. Corporate policy went there recently. They said a new change literally in the last week.
Are you serious?
Chefs across the board, probably because of me, let's be honest. But chefs across, I wanted to wait till we air, by the way, because this is the time to talk about it.
Yeah.
No more all flats. They said that chefs, because when they're slammed, they need to mix everything together. And when someone says, I want all flats, like they have to like do it separately.
What if I tell them I want all drumsticks and you tell them all flats?
That might confuse them.
Oh, well. If you came here for Star Wars talk and now we're talking about Yard House and Buffalo Wings, please consider subscribing.
Hey, I'm back. Yeah. I'm back.
Yeah.
What do you expect? Anything less?
Please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button too if you want, and leave a comment on what you like. All flats? What's your stance on Buffalo Wings?
Well, speaking of all flats, let's talk about the new episode of Bad Batch.
How can you even say that? How can you even say that?
Oh, man. Well, first of all, maybe it's because I need it in small doses, and I thought, cool, like I'm behind. I'm going to watch 2 episodes. I did that for the first couple episodes, and I had to leave early for that last episode, or last time we talked about it. Halfway through, I'm watching the first 2 episodes, and sometimes Disney Plus kind of screws you over, because I'm watching the second episode, and I see Tapoca City on there again, and Camino, and I'm like, what? I thought they, destroyed it, and then I even wrote it in my notes. I'm like, why is Camino back? That's a poor choice. I thought we put that to bed. And then I saw the Fennec Shand. I even did a post in Discord. I'm like, this is my new favorite character. It's this cargo driver during the space chase with Fennec Shand, and that was great, by the way. That sequence was great. And I was like, oh, this is catching up on Bad Batch. And then I get through the second one. I'm like, wait, I know there's some sort of pod race thing, but I haven't gotten there. And then I realize, and I text Frank, I'm like, oh, I watched 2 episodes. I watched episode 3 and 4 of season 1 of Bad Batch.
Rookie mistake.
So then I had to go back and watch another 2 episodes. And I will say this: it's night and day between this season and last season. This season is way, I think, the quality's better of the animation, and just because remember I watched it back to back, and I thought the storytelling was great, especially the episode which we won't talk about tonight, but last week that you guys talked about with the one with Cody and Crosshairs. I thought that was excellently done. But
great episode.
Trying to keep us focused. I know we have a short time, but I just thought it was funny that here I am trying to watch it in small doses, and my opinion of the show still remains the same. I like it, I just don't love it, but I really do like it, and I really love Crosshairs, and I love tech now. I'm a super tech fan.
Yeah, this episode really highlighted tech, and I was like, after watching this episode, I was like, you know what? I think Tech might be my favorite of the batch.
I think so, too.
I love Wrecker and Omega especially as well, but I think what Tech did in this episode and look at it's very timely that we get this episode in Bad Batch with all the riot racing because on Monday we're talking about episode 1, The Phantom Menace, and that has pod racing in it. So I think
now this is pod racing.
Yeah,
this is riot racing.
It's pretty good timing. So on Monday, check out our talk about The Phantom Menace, episode 1. It's a great talk. It's 2 hours long, and we love it. But anyways, this episode of Bad Batch, this one kind of stands alone aside from the previous episodes, which is fine. And I thought, and I said this last week, I was like, I don't expect next week to be just as dark or whatever, or go that deep, and we're gonna have these other fun episodes, and this episode definitely was fun. I enjoyed it. It was just a fresh of breath air for I think what's to come with the heavier stuff in the episode. So
fresh
I think,
of breath air. Couldn't let you go.
Yeah,
couldn't let that go.
I heard it and I was like, maybe I'll get away with it.
I love you,
Kevin's
pal.
right to the left of me. And so I think also just the overall message that I got from this episode was Tech is like, you know what? Because in the riot range, everyone's shooting at each other. Everyone's very antagonistic and using an offensive mindset, right? And using their weapons. Whereas Tech eventually figures out that I'm just going to rely on my shields and be defensive and not attack.
Love that.
And it's not always about brute strength and brute force to achieve your goals. Sometimes you have to take a different approach and be not as confrontational, and that can also succeed as well. And I thought that's like a pretty good message to take. Again, because I'm approaching this as a show for kids, which it is aimed for primarily, but adults do watch it. But as I'm watching, I'm like, I think this is a great message to take away from the episode, even as an adult. It's just sometimes you don't have to be so antagonistic or so on the offensive to accomplish something. You take a step back and let things come to you, and it's easier to navigate, per se, as opposed to forcing things, which I think a lot of the racers are doing. They're forcing, their position on the next racer and doing all these different types of shenanigans and whatnot, which is fun and all as a viewer. But I think the main message here was pretty powerful pretty meaningful in terms of the overall takeaway from the episode. And that's what I got out of it.
Yeah, and I really loved that aspect of it. I loved the riot race because obviously like very similar to pod races, except you have guns, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I love Tech's mindset. He has a very much like an engineer's mindset, which he's supposed to. Like, he is the engineer of the group.
I had that written down. I think of you. I don't think of you as Tech, but you're kind of Tech. If we were the Bad Batch, who would be each of us?
Ooh, you're Wrecker.
Yeah. That was my favorite part, when he's like going to crack his neck, ready to fight.
I could be fives.
You could be fives.
I could be fives.
Or you're a fearless leader. I can see you as Hunter.
Okay.
You're Tech.
I'm Tech.
You're Tech.
But
Wrecker could be Sean too.
Sean
could
be
be
Wrecker.
Wrecker, but I don't know what that
Sean's
leaves me.
Omega.
I'm not Echo.
Crosshair?
No, huh?
Crosshair, maybe?
Crosshair? You think I'm gonna kill freaking innocents and slaughter people? Okay, I'll take it.
But no, that aspect was really cool. The fact that like he's like, okay, like if he starts off like, I'm not going to use my weapons, I'm going to divert all power to my shields.
Yeah.
And he's like, I need to go faster. I'm just going to drop my weapons altogether because the weight that I lose will allow me to go faster. And I was like, that is some NASA shit right there.
I see a TikTok coming
He's
your way.
using his brains as opposed to the brawn, right?
That is some Mark Watney in The Martian type. I need to get home. Like anything that's not bolting down, taken out, anything that is bolted down, unbolt it. Like, we need to go fast. I liked that.
Yeah.
Ricky Bobby. I want to go fast.
Yeah, there's not a whole... This is an episode that gets super deep with. It's pretty on the surface.
Yeah.
I must say, I liked Rampart. He was in this, and when I watched the first two episodes of last season, he's in it too, right? And I got Matthew Good vibes. I don't know if you guys know who the actor Matthew Good... It's not Matthew Good who does a voice, but if they were ever to do a live action, Matthew Good. He played Ozymandias in Watchmen. He was also in like Leap Year. He played the Irish love interest in Leap Year.
Never thought I'd hear a leap year reference on this show.
Watched it. I'm married, so that's what happens when you watch romantic comedies. But I really think that that's an interesting character, and he got a little love in this show. And gotta love Sid too. And that was the other thing when I was watching it. They meet Sid for the first time. I'm like, what? Why are they acting like they don't know her? It was so because I was also
Kevin.
working.
Yeah.
It was kind of on the side.
Kevin confused me. I'm like waiting for this character to show up that's in like a different episode from last season.
Oh yeah, to give you so basically there's a space chase and in season 1 and
Yeah, we've seen season 1, Kevin. Have you?
Yeah. Well, he hasn't this scene because he's wondering what that alien is. But they're fighting on the back of this guy's truck, and then you just cut to an interior of the shot, and this guy's clueless, this alien, and he's like listening to this like techno like, and he's just his face is like this like that, he's not giving a f, dude. And then meanwhile there's a battle going on the ship, so that's why I thought it was fun.
I will also say, I think this episode really also spoke to Omega's character in terms of, we're not going to leave Sid high and dry. We got to help her. Now, that's her. That's who she is as a person.
She's great,
and that influences the rest of the batch, but specifically in this episode, Crosshair and Tech, to help her out. One character we have to point out is what was it? Teo Teo,
voiced by Ben Schwartz.
Oh
from
my
Parks and
God,
Rec.
Love this droid. Love the attitude.
I regret nothing.
So good. I mean,
such a great final line.
Oh man, I'm really like, they got to bring back Teo at some point.
Yeah.
They can always do it
in live action.
I want Teo to marry
Oh my
L337, and they go live happily ever after on Droid Land.
But I did not know that Ben Schwartz voiced the character. But I could hear the voice. I'm like, who is this person? Who is it? And then later I saw that it was, just great casting, great voice
Who
acting.
voiced the big gangster-looking dude, the alien?
I don't know.
He sounded familiar, but I don't think he was.
Yeah, I don't know.
But he was pretty intimidating as well. But I will also say they did set up something in the future with Sid in terms of her past and
I meant to say that. Yeah.
yeah. And so how I think the batch might view Sid or what that might get them into.
Well,
later on in the
to
season.
clear it up for people who hadn't seen it, at the end he was like, be careful. It's basically like, be careful who you trust. Like, you're loyal to her, but that might not be a two-way street in the future, and that leads up to. I think it's a fake out. I think you're gonna think at one point Sid's gonna turn on him, but she won't.
Yeah,
It's good. That was a really interesting moment for me. Like, got like the wheels turning in my brain because the driver, like something Venom or something, whatever his name was, the driver.
Eddie Brock?
No. It was spelled differently, but
John Coffey, like the drink, only spelled different.
But the driver that represents the other gangster dude in the episode.
Oh yeah.
Like when the Bad Batch is leaving, he goes to grab his gun, and then the lead gangster guy like grabs his arm, and then instead says like, "You better watch your back because you can't trust Sid." And it made me wonder. I'm like, was that driver like maybe actually working for Sid, and this was somehow some long con by Sid?
They were just mad that they lost.
Yeah,
and
they
they
were
would be
just pissed.
dishonorable and just shoot.
It's like that guy in
That's
X-Men.
that's how I looked at it.
It's like that guy in X-Men who was like, anybody who takes a beating deserves a mark for his money, and then he's trying to get money from Wolverine after getting his ass kicked.
But it's
Kinda
just
the
like,
same
instead of letting my guy shoot you, I'm just gonna tell you watch your back. It was just like an interesting dynamic.
I think that guy might have a little honor to him. I think that
Watch
even
out.
when he kidnapped Sid, they had a history, right?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
they
like,
had a
like,
history.
they know that they're in the same game, and this is what happens. And I think he was kind of an honorable bad guy, if that makes sense.
But
All right.
before we move on to Mandalorian, I just want to say one small thing, 30 seconds, that I forgot to mention last week. There was a reference in the episode talking about the Separatists gave Palpatine a peace treaty, and he ignored it. He ripped it up. He said, no, we're still at war. Is that something we've ever known in the past? I don't know if anyone else caught that like moment of dialogue in the episode, but they're basically like, yeah, like we gave Palpatine a peace treaty. We were going to end the war, and Palpatine said no.
I don't
went over my head.
Yeah, someone check that out. Comments down below, because I totally forgot to bring that up last week.
Huh.
I was like, that's a really important thing.
Yeah, I don't think I've even heard that mentioned in any other
Yeah,
shows.
and I wasn't here last week, and I don't want to slow it down, but I thought Cody's characterization was awesome. I'm very excited for that. Like, to be honest, my only note that I have, I'm just like, wait, Camino? I thought all this episode. I will say this episode was much better than them rescuing a baby Rancor.
All right.
Come on,
Mando. Why is it Mando and not Manda? It's spelled Manda, Lorian. Why do they call it Mando?
Because it sounds cooler.
Touche.
There you go. So let's talk about this Mandalorian
They
trailer
call
that
it
came
segue.
out on Monday Night Football playoff.
You nailed it, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
I had goosebumps.
Look, I was curious about what are they even going to show us at this point. I'm not sure a whole lot of new stuff than they did. They showed what looks presumably to be Coruscant. I don't see why it wouldn't be Coruscant. I know people might be Hazian Prime and like
Coruscant, dude.
I saw
It's like the corner of 2nd and 38th on
Yeah.
3,308.
I was dead convinced it's Coruscant, but then someone posted a shot comparison, like a side by side of Hosnian Prime and that shot from the trailer, and the architecture looked eerily similar.
So okay, Coruscant and Hazian Prime have similar architecture.
Hosnian Prime's got more curves, I feel
Oh,
like.
whatever.
Hosnian Prime had a little more
Coruscant's-
colors too. There's more blues
just
on Coruscant
doesn't-
and more reds and purples in Hosnian Prime, and it was more blues.
I'll just be upset that I honestly I'll be like, why is it not Coruscant? Because we can go to Tatooine how many times, but we can't go to Coruscant
capital-
more than
Yeah.
once. What the hell?
The capital's on Chandrilla at this time.
Right, that's true. So,
Let's
anyways,
see some Dagobah too.
I think that was really
The
interesting.
entire planet's one big swamp.
I'm very confused why the Disney Plus version has that one shot of the Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
I don't even
multiple
know.
Star Destroyers.
Yeah, it was like 2 or whatever. I'm like, why?
I think
is
that's-
that even?
That's just for a
would they
trailer.
have a
Why
different version?
haven't
They're just breaking them down for parts. There's no conspiracy.
yeah.
They're breaking it down for parts. That's how they're building new tanks.
they reclaimed them in the war, and yeah, exactly.
right. I think one of my favorite parts of the trailer was Grogu using the Force on that creature. I thought that was great.
Well-
Also, all the Mandalorian stuff. I mean, every time we talk about it in our trailer reaction too, which you can check out here on the channel that myself, Sean Sullivan, and Brandon did. Kevin did not, but Kevin's going to talk about now probably some of his favorite moments from the trailer.
Yeah, I mean, I loved that was the goosebump. And I might have a condition.
Yeah, he's perpetually goosebumps.
I really am bummed I couldn't do it. It was we had the day off, and my wife's been she started a new job, and I just really wanted to take her out to dinner.
They don't care.
But well, I care. I'm just letting everyone know. I would not miss a reaction because those are my. I love reactions.
I missed both of them.
I think Kevin's setting a false standard for me now because I'm normally like, no, babe, I gotta go out with the boys and record my podcast.
Oh well, once you're married, you're kind of forced. So. No, but it was on the TV, and I didn't look at it because it was at the place that we couldn't see. I didn't want to see it, so I didn't see that. But when I got home, I watched it. But yeah, the goosebump-inducing moment was the Grogu force pushing that alien thing, and then you hear the the theme, right? The bassy version of that.
I do want to talk about the music.
Then the music throughout was fantastic. I did like you saw battle droids from episode 1 in the background. That was cool. And then people are talking about, is that Anakin going through? No, because you would see the end of a saber. It's just like in New Hope when the stormtroopers are sealing through it. I mean, I don't think they're going to show a picture of Anakin.
I wouldn't be surprised.
In Anakin's state, he would have slaughtered that thing.
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if while he was on set for Obi-Wan, he also shot a scene.
Are they going to have a scene where he's about to kill it and then he gets a message?
Is it possible it's Anakin? Sure.
He's
always a possibility.
He's gonna raise his lightsaber and go, Grogu, you were always nice to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Pull a Billy Madison.
Yeah. Have you seen those memes? It's funny.
So I do think
I lived, bitch. That one.
Yeah. Oh, I love the I lived, bitch one.
Great.
Yeah, there's so many memes. But yeah, I think
What
so.
if
The
it's
Order
Reva
66
that saves Grogu.
I did hear an interesting thing that the episode in Book of Boba Fett was supposed to be like the first episode, or they were talking about how him, because if you watch the trailer and you didn't watch Book of Boba Fett,
Yeah.
they're like together again. Like that's so
So
weird.
I have a take on this. But go ahead.
Here's
I
my
have some
thing about
thoughts
it.
as
I
well.
think that now you have to treat all the Star Wars as like it's an ongoing serial, and if you want to catch up with everything, you would have to watch Book of Boba Fett, even if you didn't like it. But I had heard that some of the writing, the theory was that it was originally going to be the opening of Mando season 3 was going to be. How he gets with the Luke and coming back together, but then I don't know how that works because Grogu saves the day at the end in the battle in Tatooine and Mos Espa.
Right.
But yeah, overall the trailer, you're right, you nailed it. I was laughing when I was watching the reaction because definitely got goosebumps. The music always gets goosebumps for me, and then just the placement of shots and the order, and just seeing the big Mando
Paz Vizsla, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's so
Pazzy.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah, that's what we call him, Pazzy.
Yeah. I totally understand people being annoyed that a key plot point of The Mandalorian was resolved in a different show. That's a legitimate.
It's annoying.
It's a legitimate beef. But what I don't understand is the people complaining because people complain about it. It's all right, yeah, you have a right to complain about that, but they go, yeah, I would never watch the Book of Boba Fett. I wouldn't be caught dead watching the Book of Boba Fett. I'm like, I get it if you watched it and you didn't like it, but why are people so hard on refusing to even give it a chance?
Okay, first of all, if you watch that episode when they reunite, or even when those episodes in Book of Boba Fett, you're not actually really watching Book of Boba Fett. You're watching Mandalorian season 2.5. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not like Boba Fett appears in any part of that episode, which is still kind of, in my opinion, a little bizarre to be called the Book of Boba Fett, but it's the Mandalorian and Grogu and Luke
Which is
Skywalker
why my
and
pitch-
Ahsoka Tano.
To be fair, the episode is called The Mandalorian.
Which is why my
It
pitch,
is, it is.
a drastic pitch would be you just call the show Star Wars, and you just literally, it's like, we're gonna do the arc Boba Fett arc now. We're gonna, There's the comics would do that,
and it's fine. But I think
are so
also at the same
hard-pressed.
time, I still think there will be some sort of explanation in Mandalorian season 3 about how Grogu got reunited with Mandalorian.
Oh, sure.
There'll probably be a Prevan, right? Probably for that, and they'll show that, and then I think they're probably within the first episode there might be some explanation of Grogu decided this, that, and the other, and it's way less anticlimactic than it was in the Book of Boba Fett episodes, but it's just You're subscribed already to Disney Plus, presumably, because you're watching The Mandalorian. Just watch episode 5 of the Book of Boba Fett and be done with it. Or 6 or 7, rather.
I don't understand people being so hard pressed, they just refuse to watch the Book of Boba Fett. They're like, I will never watch this. How dare you put this in something that I will never watch? I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Just give it a chance. I don't get it. Why the hate? Why do y'all hate Boba Fett so much? He's cool.
Yeah, well,
He
no
is a
one's
cool
complaining about
character.
how there's a side story with the Mandalorian where he takes over. There's a zombie apocalypse in The Last of Us because I couldn't watch that without hearing our boy the Mandalorian.
Oh man, I haven't watched it yet, but I'm wondering how that's.
Wait till you watch the
sound.
first 29 minutes.
Oh my god!
If you played the game and people played the game, have you played the game?
I've seen it. but I
You've
haven't
seen the
played it.
opening part of the game?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so yeah.
Well, I mean, it was a while ago, but yeah.
They spoiler alert, they do it justice. But yeah,
I'm looking forward to watching it. But yes,
it premieres March 1st. I'm really bummed because I might be moved by then, and I won't be able to be part of your guys' post shows for that. So I'm going to figure out a way to do my own reactions.
This is the way.
Yeah, that's
Figure it
unfortunate.
out.
So I'm going to become more of a special guest star, I guess, for a while. So
just a special guest.
Just like the Mandalorian.
not so special.
Just
Not
like the
so special.
Mandalorian in the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, I'm going to pop in on episode 7. Like
wait a minute.
When we're coming up with a plan where I can come more often. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really excited for that show. I'm going to be really bummed that I don't get to talk about it with you guys. If the move date happens on that date.
Here's a question: do you think they'll explain the absence of Cara Dune in the show, or do you think they'll just be completely
why? It's a big galaxy.
They'll just completely bypass.
I've seen.
Well, because she was the marshal on Navarro.
Well, they'll say, yeah, you. So, by the way, you see the IG-88 post statue,
IG-11.
and it's on
IG-11.
IG-11. Sorry, nerd alert.
Get it right.
With on top of melted stormtrooper helmets.
Yeah,
nerd would
Very
have gotten
cool.
it right.
Maybe they would
didn't.
maybe they would have another statue next to her, and it won't look like her because they don't use her like this. But it'll be like, oh yeah, she died during the insurrection.
I don't think they're. I actually think they're completely.
I bet they
ignore
own
it.
her likeness, so do it.
Whatever.
But like,
She got canceled. That's her poster, or that's her poster on the wall. She got
my God.
canceled.
I've seen multiple people make the joke, be like, "Oh, it's nice to see that like Grief Karga's still wearing his funeral robes from
my
Cara
gosh.
Dune's funeral."
Yeah, I've seen that too. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Carson Teva in the trailer having lines, having stuff to do, which is very exciting.
Oh, and then your guy.
Hey! Not Tim. Babu
Not
Frick.
Tim. Yeah.
Multiple Babu Fricks. Bob two Fricks, if you will.
Baba Frick and Babu Frick.
My hype for this show was already at a major high, but now it's just like through the roof. We're only 5 weeks away now from the premiere of season 3.
Frick, I better start packing. Then.
Babu Frick.
Dude, you can't hear that theme though.
Oh, it's
and
so
it had
good.
this version where it had like it was just a different bassy version for that. And replay the music, man.
Ludwig
I can't wait till someone
an absolute genius.
Samuel Kim Music will probably recreate it as
yeah,
epic
yeah.
trailer. I cannot wait because its score is just great. So
It's great. Any
Loved
any final thoughts on the Mandalorian trailer? If
Just
Sean was
hyped.
here, we'd be
Just
here
hyped.
for hours. But
Good, I don't have hours. Keep it rolling.
so we're gonna get to the questions that were submitted in our Discord. And
Let us know your excitement for the Mandalorian.
Yeah, what do you hope to see in the Mandalorian? Do you think we'll get an all Boba Fett episode in the Mandalorian?
I hope we do.
That would be really funny. I'm not gonna lie,
get
and
it.
people will
they'll hate it.
absolutely.
I don't
riot.
get the hate for
They
Boba
will
Fett.
riot. In
I
the
like the
streets.
show. Boba Fett rode a Rancor. End of
That's pretty
story.
cool.
Like a panther.
I do know there's an old question that I missed from Nep. If you want to read it,
Yeah,
I have a very
From Nep.
disappointing answer. He's waited way too long for this, so. But I have a very disappointing answer for
Okay,
him.
so Nep, this
Hi,
is
Nep.
back in the beginning of January. He asked
Sorry.
another question for Kevin. If you had
Life.
a choice between the amazing storylines of the Brotherhood of Shadow, Solomon's Revenge mod for KOTOR, and the equally amazing Star Wars Knight of the Fallen Empire and Star Wars Knight of the Eternal Throne expansions for SWTOR, as potential future post-KOTOR 3 stories revolving around fan favorite Logan Star, which one would you pick and why?
Unfortunately, I haven't seen any of those, so I do not have an answer for you. Sorry,
Oh,
Nep.
you
I thought about
made him wait
messaging
all
you.
this time
I
to give
know.
that
I thought
dog
about it.
shit
I didn't.
answer?
I didn't want to break protocol and start answering people in the Discord. To be honest, though, Nep, if I had to choose one or the other, I would avoid anything with the MMO. I thought the MMO did a great disservice to Revan. So if I'm answer your question honestly, I know that Brotherhood of Shadows more involved directly with the KOTOR games, so I'm gonna go with that.
All right, so moving on to our next
Love you,
question.
Nep.
Thank you for the question. Keep submitting them, and maybe Kevin will have watched something you talked about.
To be honest, I didn't even watch Bad Batch. I only watched the first two. No, I'm kidding. I watched it.
This is from Hit Inama, and he asked, what genres of video games would you like Star Wars to explore? I would really like a more traditional turn-based RPG. Really anything with exploration seems built for Star Wars. If anyone has played Yakuza Like a Dragon, I think that game shows you can really make that medium modern and interesting. The genre of video games, I just want Star Wars Galaxies back. I'm like, give me.
I love it.
Like, I think something similar to that is that game called No Man's Land. Or what's the one?
Well, there's a new upcoming thing that they're talking about. It's going to be some super MMO style.
Yeah,
Or it's
but
going to be like
what's
No
the-
Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky. That's
yeah.
what I was talking about. Yeah, like where you can just kind of explore.
There's some other game coming out called Starfield.
Okay.
Starfield, which is supposed to be insane, like No Man's Sky. But yeah, so you want something like that?
I would like something like that with like Star Wars Galaxy feel again, where you can do like those little missions and whatnot, and have a profession. And
Yeah.
I just like living inside that world, and that's kind of where my head is at. I haven't played that Knights of the Republic MMO, whatever.
Avoid it. Sorry,
But
if you like Revan, avoid it anyway.
I say just keep the Battlefront games coming. Honestly, I wish I had like more time because I'm too busy like pursuing my like dreams and life aspirations and like making TikToks and podcasts and going to work. But if I did not do those things, I should have already bought Battlefront 2 because every time I see footage of like people playing on Crate, I'm like, I just want to be in the trenches in Crate.
So
I
cool.
want to be that guy that goes, salt. And I want to be shooting at like TIE fighters like coming at
The
me.
problem when you play online now,
It looks
everybody's
so
so good
good.
because
It
it's been
looks
out for
so
so long,
good.
and you
Yeah.
go play online, it's like getting slaughtered.
I
My
just want
answer
that.
for you,
I just want someone to buy me Battlefront 2.
you could have my copy because I'm moving on to the Xbox Series S because my PS4 is about to die. So I'll give you my
get a
copy.
PS5, bro.
So
So you can play Fallen Order
Maybe
or
I-
a Survivor, Jedi Survivor.
Xbox is backwards compatible, and there's some old.
That's true.
But my answer to that question would be a dating simulator,
Oh my God.
Star Wars dating simulator, or a Star Wars rhythmic dancing game where you could see Han Solo dancing. No, to be honest, I think they answered. I think any sort of exploratory game would be cool. I think also like it would be really cool to do like another Super Star. They're doing all these updates with games. They could do another Super Star Wars style game with the they do a lot of these retro games with the old graphics, right? Like the new Mega Man games, which is like using the old graphics but with new levels. They should do a Super Star Wars version of the sequel trilogy and of the prequel trilogy. That would be really cool. Like, imagine, with Qui-Gon and stuff. We just talked about Phantom Menace in the future. But yeah, an old school 16-bit retro graphic style game of the prequels and the sequels.
Cool.
Imagine being on a date with Jar Jar Binks. So, how many sexual partners did you used to have?
Oh my gosh.
Hey,
What's
I'm
your
telling you,
body? What's your body count?
Star Wars dating simulator.
Me's a body count bomb bag.
Oh my gosh. Okay, the next question is from Booze. Name a Jedi from Legends you'd literally do a backflip for if they showed up in a cartoon or live action show. He says also, if no one says Kip Duran, I'll riot.
Well, I can't literally do a
Duran?
backflip. So
You what?
I cannot literally do a backflip.
Well,
no matter who it
you
is.
want to try.
Can I guess your answer? I know your answer.
What's my answer?
I'm gonna say mine would have been Kip Duran. To be honest, like I love those novels.
No idea who that
Your
is.
answer is Dash Rendar.
Jedi?
Oh,
Dash
it's
Rendar.
supposed to be Jedi?
He says
Jedi.
Jedi. Name a Jedi from
Question.
Legends.
I used to play one of those Jedi Academy games back when Jedi Knight
Kyle
2.
Katarn.
Yeah,
then?
Kyle
You want
Katarn.
Kyle Katarn?
Is it Kyle Katarn,
Yeah.
the main guy in that?
With he looks like
He's the one that
William
came to
T.
mind.
Riker.
Yeah, he's the one that immediately came to mind, but I also wouldn't mind seeing actually George
Katarn.
Sabath, like
Oh, yeah.
live
Yeah.
action, or like,
Who?
He'd be
Rick-
terrifying.
from Heir to the Empire.
I don't know what these guys are talking about.
Yeah,
Good
I think that'd
question.
be pretty cool.
Good question, Booze.
If
I like
it's
your name.
Legends, I don't know it. If it's canon, I probably don't know it.
Oh, he doesn't know stuff. Is there anybody else that I would?
Those are two really bad farts, by the way. I'm embarrassed.
You should hear it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Franks
there.
are
It is.
so good.
And wet.
It
We're gonna
sounds
get-
just
we're
like
gonna
the
get-
one
We're gonna
from
get
Phantom
demonetized
Menace.
if you keep farting.
Okay,
Sounds just
last
like the one from
question.
Phantom Menace.
Last question from Prodigal Knight 777. He says, "Big
Oh, that's
fan."
like a slot machine.
He says, "Yeah, sure. Big fan of yeah. Anyways, big fan of Kev's KOTOR movies, and found the podcast through his channel post, and love it as well.
Love to
Thank
hear
you.
that. Glad you came over.
My question is for Frank. What was your favorite part of the first KOTOR game? How long did it take you to beat it? And have you seen his movies?"
Did he really?
Yeah, he can't believe that someone asked me a question. This smug son of a bitch. He just thinks, people ask him questions and that's it. So my favorite part of the game actually is the battle, like everything in Starforge, aside from actually fighting Bane or what do you call it?
Bane?
Not Bane.
Malik.
Malik. Jesus. Because I was like,
Rule of two.
I was born in the Starforge.
I-
adopted into it.
really liked how tough it was in the Starforge, and I really got a good kick out of that, and just how brutal it was. I mean, it was just like nonstop. And I actually, as kind of repetitive as it was, I still found it quite enjoyable because I was, able to survive those battles. It just took strategy and time, and I really enjoyed that aspect of the game, having strategy.
Who was your trio when you would go through it?
It was.
Who was your go-tos?
Who was the other? Oh, what's her name? I can't even think of anyone's name now. No,
Mission?
not Mission.
That's Bastila was bad at the
no,
time, so you can't have her.
Who
Spoiler.
did I have actually? Now I'm trying to remember. Who
I would
did
always
have?
the go-to is you gotta have 2 Jedi, so I'd always have Jolie with me. So Jolie,
I did not have Jolie,
I'd
I
have
know
the main
that.
character. What was your main character's name?
What did I name him?
I don't know, but I told you I would give him
I know because
shout out in the next
Star
show.
or something.
How long did it take you to beat?
Took me like 30 hours.
Yeah, 30 hours.
Like 34 maybe even. Yeah. And no, I haven't really seen his movies. I've seen clips and stuff. He doesn't want me to watch them yet for some reason.
Well,
So-
before I move, we'll have a scene. You're gonna, especially if you love the Star Forge, you're gonna freaking love my movie.
I'm not watching them without an egregious amount of Wingstop in front of me.
Hey, you know what? Before I move, we'll do a wing night and we'll watch.
We got to.
We got to do it.
But that's all the questions we have. So thanks for submitting. If you want to submit questions, go into our Discord.
Sorry,
you can
I
even
don't
try
know.
and tweet at us. We might see it, we might not. But if you definitely want us to see it, we'll see it in the Discord.
You
Also-
are witnessing history right now. This is the shortest episode of Scoundrels Inc. of all time.
It is.
And sorry, I don't know more Jedi in Legends or in canon
Look
for
it
that
up.
matter.
Look it up. He'll look it up.
Apology,
That's his new homework.
apology accepted.
Again, as we said on Mondays, just in general, we're covering a movie from the Skywalker saga. We're doing it in release order, so we've already just finished up the original trilogy. Monday, we're talking about The Phantom Menace, and then Attack of the Clones, and then Revenge of the Sith. So tune into those. Those are a lot of fun discussions. We really go back into how we first watched the movies, what they meant to us, and just the kind of where we are, where we were at in our lives when we watched those movies. It's a lot of fun to reminisce and talk about the movies in general. So go check those out. Also, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, do all the stuff that YouTubers say. Really appreciate it. Help us out. We got over 300 subscribers. We're trying to keep this thing building, and we're having a lot of fun doing it. And we appreciate everyone who's been along with us for the ride so far. And
I'll end this show saying one thing. I regret nothing.
And you were right about one thing, Kevin. The podcast was short.
Oh, there it is. there's our segue or whatever. Never mind.
Scoundrel. I like the sound of that.